Okay, look up here, you guys. This is a really simple tool, and then I'm going to go into some other stuff after this. So we're going to go here to where our brush tool is, and then drop down here to color replacement, and you're going to get this control bar up here. So you've got a tolerance, which is, I think, just it's kind of like when you're selecting something with the magic wand tool, you can up the tolerance with how much it's going. Like if it's grabbing this orange, you know, how much it's going to be a little harder here because it's going orange to orange. But if I had a severe color there that changes drastically from the back, it should be able to find that a little bit. So how tolerant you make it is up to you. Let's not talk about these yet. Yeah. Okay, and I've got it on color mode. The only two I usually use are color or saturation, but I want you to play with all of them when we start playing with this. Whenever I'm showing you guys the basic thing here, and then when I say let's play with it a little bit, I want you to push it further. I'm just giving you the overall. This is a real simple tool, by the way. So I picked a green here. So I've got it on color. And if I come in here, it's just going to do exactly what it says. It's going to replace that color with a new color. So let's switch it to saturation. That's just changing the color. And then saturation, if you notice, it does something completely different. And right now, I don't like that one. Now, this, if you notice, okay, so another thing I want you guys to notice is, like, if you look up here, this overlay idea, are you noticing it's all over the place? Because this is just 4 of your overlays, the same thing. The color one is basically doing exactly what it says, just replacing the color. The saturation one, normally, I think what it does is it hyper-saturates it or something. I can't remember now exactly. You just have to play with it, okay? Some of these things, they're so simple. The reason I just want you to play with them, that's the only way you learn them. And I'm hoping you're starting to see there's certain categories in here where some of these things are pretty simple. You set them up, you adjust sliders, you have to get in and play with it. Some of them are a little more complicated. This is an easy one. Okay? But I want you to take probably 2 or 3 different types of photos and see what you can do with it. Then I want to go into some other things today. All right? So just grab whatever you want. I would grab 3 or 4 images and play with that. All right, let's look up here for a second. I'm going to go over just something real quick. I'm just going to touch on it, and I'll probably come back to it. Yeah, okay, so if you look here, when we're in Photoshop, right here, it's going to say Browse and Bridge, which is Shift Command O, and it'll bring up Bridge, which is right here. Have any of you guys ever used this? Bridge? Okay, what it basically is an organizational tool, and I'm just going to touch on a little bit of it, and then I want to play with it a little bit, and I'll probably come back to it like in a week or so. So basically what it's going to do, I'll show you just the kind of simple things that I like it for. Okay, so if I'm, okay, number one, you're going to get, right now we're in, just like in Photoshop, I'm in the Essentials one. You can also do Film Strip, you can do all these different ones, but I'm just going to stick in Essentials right now. And I'm going to go Desktop, and here's my folder. So I'm going to go into this folder, and what I can do in here, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things you can do in here, but let's look right here for a second. This is just recent files. This right here will take me back to, the little boomerang will take me back to Photoshop. I'm assuming if you're in Illustrator, it'll take you back to Illustrator. Okay, so this one here, what this is right here is if you have your, let's get rid of that. If you have your camera, you know how you connect your camera to your computer? What it'll do is you can import them right into Bridge, which means you can start editing them, not editing them, but editing how you're going to view them. Now, to also let you set it up when you do it, it'll ask you, do you want me to just do this default where every time you plug that in, I just automatically open Bridge and give you a preview, which is probably a good idea. Okay, so I have this folder, and it's all these images in here. And also, if you look here, there's keywords, filters over here. Or just different types of filters. So let's go here. One of the main things I like this for is I can go, if this is, like right now I'm putting together a little book of a lot of sketches. And I'm going to end up with a folder just full of sketches. But I can come in here, by the way, if I pick this, it gives me the preview over here. And then it gives me keywords over here that I can click that'll attach a keyword to this image. So when I go into Bridge, I go, and I can make it something real specific, book, sketch, images. Or I can go over here and I can add another keyword that's one I want to add just for myself. I check it, it's going to attach that keyword in the search. So if I did a keyword search, it's going to pull up just those images with that keyword. Now, one of the main things I like about this, because what I used to do is I would use naming conventions to target the drawings or whatever I'm working on, the best images, right? And they start to get confusing. But on here, I can come up here to label, and I can go to this rating thing, and I can go, okay, this is one that's a good candidate. I'm going to give it 5 stars. This one's a good sketch one. I'm going to give it 4. And I can go through here, and I can label all these. So when I go through here, I can sort by rating. And then it's just going to sort them by my ratings. So I can just look at the best ones and how I've starred them, okay? Another thing I like on here, if you have a lot of images, let's take all these. And let's go to, okay, so Tools, Photoshop. I'm going to go to Contact Sheet. Okay, so it gives me all these parameters. This is 8 by 8, which I probably wouldn't do, but that's fine. I can change that. Here's where you change inches, centimeters, however you want to do it, resolution, and all your parameters. I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to take that and make a contact sheet of all those images that I want in there. Does that make sense? Comes in really handy when you're working with other people and you go, I have all these images, you don't want to sit around and put them all together. So it just makes a contact sheet of all your images and puts them in there. That's a really handy tool. I know it sounds simple, really handy tool. Because I used to do that where I had to put them all together, and it's just so much easier to do this. And I emailed it to them, I'm done in 5 minutes. Let's see what else. This is just the different views you can have. So if I go to Film Strip, it gives me just a different preview, and I can go through them this way. I like this one because it shows me all my metadata right here. This preview, and I'm on keywords right now, so I can assign it keywords. Or I can go over to metadata, and it's going to show me all my data for this file. All the camera data, whatever information is embedded in that file. Does that make sense? Which can also come in handy. Let's see what else. You can open these in Camera Raw. I'm not going to do that right now because that's a different thing. You guys know what that is? You can shoot in cameras, it's raw. It's a lot of times what photographers will use. It's a very high-res file. It's literally a raw file. It's just a high-res file, right? A lot of photographers use it. These are just back and forth. All right, that's the basic things I like to do with it. There's a lot of other things we can do here. I don't think I want to get too far into that. I think as an organizational tool, it's awesome. Open it up, play with it. And it has the hotkey right here. It used to just be Command O, but now I think it's Shift Command O. Or you can just go up here and go, in Photoshop, you can go up here and go Browse and Bridge, okay, under File.